Mm. Sorry for some technical issues with my devices. Yes, welcome all to this month's webinar by VietCALL. And thank you for spending your time to joining us in this very interesting topic. And let me introduce you to our speaker today, Dr. Jeong-Bae. He is a professor of applied linguistics and TESOL at the University of Southern Queensland, Australia. He's also the president of Asia Pacific Association for Computer Assisted Language Learning, or APACO for short. He is the director of Technology Enhanced Language Teaching Research Institute and also the author of notable books such as Teacher Development in Technology Enhanced Language Teaching and Insights into Digital Literacy and Language Teaching. In today's webinar with the theme Digital Literacy and AI Literacy for Language Teachers. Yes, as language teachers, we always ask ourselves what should we know and what we're able to do in terms of using technology and outside of the classroom to be effective teachers of languages. And in today's webinar, we will explore the digital skills and AI literacy, yes, especially in the era of AI for language teachers. We also discuss some challenges and issues in digital learning environments, along with technology enhanced approaches to language teaching if we need new approaches. And we also examine the applications of AI in language teaching and its role in supporting teacher professional development. And thank you very much, Dr. Son, for sharing your expertise in our webinar, in VietCALL webinar today. And before our speaker starts with his, around 60 minutes speech, let me remind you once again a very big, very first event this month of VietCALL in collaboration with the Industrial University Ho Chi Minh City, the very first VietCALL International Convention that will happen in the October the 18th in Ho Chi Minh City. And we would like to welcome you and would like to see you there. This is a great chance for us to share our knowledge and experience relating to AI in language teaching. Yes, and we also have collected a lot of questions from those who registered to participate in this webinar. And after the Dr. Son's sharing, we will go to the Q&A session. It depends on the time that we have for this webinar. I estimate we have 90 minutes altogether in this. And Dr. Son will hope to answer all of your questions. And in case if you are participating here and if you have any more questions, please use the chat box and to type your questions so I can collect to deliver to our speaker today. And joining with us today, we also have Dr. Bảo Khâm, VietCALL president, and he will, representing VietCALL to present an e-certificate to our speaker. So let's now welcome to our speaker. Hello, Dr. Bảo Khâm. It's the time for our speaker to share. Thank you.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, we can hear you, Professor.
Great. Okay. It is my pleasure to deliver this talk titled Digital Literacy and AI Literacy for Language Teachers. Let me share my screen so that you can see my PowerPoint. Here you go. All right. My name is Jeong-Bae. I'm based in Brisbane, Australia. Thanks for my introduction, by the way. Today, we will explore digital literacy and AI literacy while looking at challenges and issues in digital environments, digital language teaching, AI-powered language teaching, and language teacher development. I'll finish my talk with some discussion questions to explore. Now, I was thinking of using a Menti.com for our quick online survey, but I realized that with this BBS system, we can have a full quiz short kit, and I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with. Let's just try it because it is good to actually test new system if you are with us, and we'll make a short question and see whether you can answer them in your system. And this actually shows you engagement with online system as well. And as a teacher, if you teach something on an environment, you will make sure your students are engaged with what you are doing, right? So let's see whether this system works. And start for, let me see whether this works. Okay. Good. This gives me an idea of how much you know about AI. Everyone is invited to respond to this short question. All right, so most of you have a moderate level of experience with AI. You can see from your responses, right? Out of 61, let's make at least 45. A few more responses. Okay, very interesting. There's no one who responds none there. That's just good, very good, very positive response there. All right, we made 45. That's enough. Okay, let's move to the next one. Now, this is just simple website which actually asks you to go to there, and I will just show you to how it looks like. This is the website. Looks like, and during my talk, you can go to this website and then start to type in your responses when you think you might like to add something right here. And then we'll get back to this website after the talk and see whether there are any particular things we need to discuss further. Okay, so keep in mind that there's a Padlet.com site, and feel free to go there and start putting something you like to do. All right, so there are two things we can start with, and then let's start with real story. Okay. As you all know, there are challenges and issues that need to be addressed in language teaching in digital environments. One of the challenges is digital divide. Concerns about digital divide include unequal access to and use of digital technologies and people different levels of skill to use digital devices, information, and resources. The digital divide is considered as a social justice issue. The next challenge is digital competence. Gurang and Hope argue that digital competence requires systematic preparation and training. because it is not acquired through simple exposure to digital applications and tools. This is a good point. Another challenge is teacher training and support. Teachers may not feel comfortable and confident in using digital technologies in their teaching if their digital level is low. There is a need for professional development models for digital language teachers. Next slide. There are also concerns about data security and privacy. Data security is the protection of data, and data privacy is an aspect of data protection against unauthorized access, loss, or corruption. Teachers need to have a clear understanding of data privacy and security, implement data protection measures, and educate students how to use them. Next, digital distractions can negatively impact learning and teaching while using digital devices. VietCALL reported that the amount of digital distraction, sending instant messages, checking the time, boredom, sharing social media, and system usability were significant predictors of digital distraction. A recent challenge is the rise of artificial intelligence, AI. Here are some researcher statements. Minion says more advanced forms of generative AI for language learning, such as ChatGPT, Bard, and New.com, will likely emerge given the current dynamics of technology in the market. Tone et al. Say, if carefully planned and used, ChatGPT might offer a rich opportunity for language teachers to enhance language teaching. Similarly, Kong et al. Say, ChatGPT can support language learning by simulating authentic interactions, and teachers and students must develop the specific digital competencies needed to use such tools in ways that are pedagogically beneficial and ethical. Okay. So what is digital literacy then? Since the late 1990s, many researchers and practitioners have defined digital literacy with a similar or different focuses. For example, in parallel terms, building digitally literate implies the ability to understand media, such as being critical about retrievable information and to be able to communicate with others. In another study, Nat stated that digital literacy refers to the multiplicity of literacies associated with the use of digital technologies. Digital literacy is often pluralized as digital literacies to reflect different forms, functions, and types of literacy practices in different contexts. The ISC in the UK define digital literacies as those capabilities which fit an individual for living, learning, and working in digital society. In 2015, I defined digital literacy as the ability to use digital technologies at an adequate level for creation, communication, collaboration, and information search and evaluation in a digital society. It involves the development of knowledge and skills for using digital devices and tools for specific purposes. Digital literacy entails a range of elements. Here are some examples. Hagen Patton's component digital literacy include functional skills, e-safety, effective communication, the ability to find and select information, collaboration, cultural and social understanding, critical thinking and evaluation, and creativity. Parallel digital competence areas include information, communication, content creation, safety, and problem solving. That shows elements of digital literacies include cultural, cognitive, constructive, communicative, competent, creative, critical, and civic elements. JIC's elements of digital literacy include media literacy, communications and collaboration, career and identity management, ICT literacy, learning skill, digital scholarship, and information literacy. Similarly, my elements of digital literacy include information search and evaluation, creation, communication, collaboration, and online safety. The 5 elements are illustrated in this picture. They are also reflected in these literature questionnaires I developed in 2015. You are welcome to visit this site and use or adapt the questionnaires for your study with the condition that you acknowledge and cite the original source of each questionnaire properly. Now let's look at each element of digital literacy, starting with information search and evaluation. Information search is the process of locating or retrieving information to meet a specific information need. It is a key practice of digital literacy and a fundamental activity in digital spaces. It includes finding, accessing, browsing, navigating, filtering, organizing, storing, retrieving, and managing information. The use of online search engine is the most widely used information search strategy. Among the search engines, Google is still the most popular search engine and continues to expand its search services with the generative AI capabilities. It has become a requirement for us to select appropriate resources and evaluate information carefully and critically before we accept and use it. Where does the information come from? Can the information be verified in other sources? The ability to critically evaluate information is an essential online research skill. It is important for language learners and teachers to be able to critically assess the quality and credibility of information, make informed decisions about the information they use, and determine whether the information they use is trustworthy. In the literature, Coyle discussed 4 dimensions of critical evaluation, including relevance, accuracy, bias or perspective, and reliability. Harari's self-assessment grid says, regarding the advanced level of information competence, I can use a wide range of strategies when searching for information and browsing on the internet. I'm critical about the information I find, and I can cross-check and assess the validity and credibility. I can filter and monitor the information I receive. Ask yourself whether you can do this kind of thing. Activities for developing information search and evaluation skills could be something like find relevant information using search engines, evaluate quality and credibility and relevance of information found, organize and curate information using digital tools such as Dropbox, Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive, Evernote, Google Docs, Microsoft OneNote, Padlet, Pinterest, and distinguish and manage different kinds of information. Creation. Digital content creation is the process of creating content in digital context. The creation of digital content allows individuals to present their work and express their ideas and views in digital format, such as a blog, a graphic, a website, a podcast, a video, and a digital presentation. A massive amount of user-generated content is available online. For example, social media, videos, blogs, wikis, discussion forums. There is need for language teachers to provide language learners with opportunities to learn how to use digital tools and software effectively and engage in meaningful and pertinent content creation activities. Language learners also need guidance and support in dealing with language-linked issues such as grammar, vocabulary, and the style of writing in the target language, and raising cultural awareness and intercultural understanding. Here are some example activities and tools. Creating an animation with Animaker or Do Ink. Creating an ebook with a book creator. Creating an online database with Airtable. Creating a podcast with a Podomatic. Creating a wiki with a PBWorks. And creating a word cloud with wordart.com or wordclouds.com. Digital communication is the process of interacting with digital technologies. It requires communication skills. which allow individuals to engage and communicate in a range of digital formats, such as online discussion forums and social media platforms. Through online communication, language learners develop intercultural communicative competence, which we call ICC. We regularly use computer-mediated communication tools such as email, short message services, social networking services, and video conferencing services. Language learners need to create positive connections with others and develop digital communication strategies to participate in authentic networks online. Example activities include online discussion forums, video conferencing, digital storytelling, and online role play. Digital collaboration is the process of working with others online. It connects a broad network of individuals across different locations and time zones. Digital collaboration tools include collaborative real-time editing tools, social bookmarking tools, collaborative diagram tools, virtual communities, and wikis. The ability to participate in digital collaboration effectively is needed for cooperation, teamwork, problem solving, and respect for diversity. Teachers can teach digital collaboration skills through digital collaboration activities in language lessons. Activities can include online group projects, collaborative writing, virtual brainstorming, and virtual team building. Online safety is the act of being aware of safety and security risks and protecting ourselves from the risks online. It's known as internet safety, cyber safety, or e-safety. In online environments, there are issues such as cyberbullying, invasion of privacy, identity theft, and exposure to harmful content. It is important for us to develop online safety skills to stay safe and strengthen safety practices. Developing online safety skills is a critical component of digital literacy training. Language teachers can use activities related to digital footprint and privacy, create online safety quizzes, and guide their students to watch an online safety video and have a discussion based on the video. In line with digital literacy, we need to know what AI literacy is as well. This is my definition of AI literacy. Artificial intelligence, AI literacy, is the ability to use AI technologies creatively, critically, effectively, efficiently, and ethically in an AI world. It involves the development of understanding, knowledge, and skills for using AI applications and tools for specific purposes. I see AI literacy as a part of digital literacy. In line with the increasing interest in AI, we'll see and use the term AI literacy more often than the term digital literacy, while considering key elements of digital literacy as well. To understand AI literacy better, it is important for us to understand what digital literacy is and what elements need to be considered in digital literacy. In other words, use AI creatively, critically, effectively, efficiently, and ethically. We need to understand and develop skills for information search and evaluation, creation, communication, collaboration, and online safety. Please feel free to this website and find more information about AI literacy. Let's talk about digital language teaching now. Digital language teaching refers to the application of digital pedagogies and technologies to the teaching of languages. It involves the the use of digital tools and resources that support language learning and teaching. As shown in this picture, digital language teaching requires digital literacy as a basic requirement and is implemented with digital pedagogies and digital technologies. The target language to teach is considered throughout all lines that connect each element. I consider digital teaching strategies as teaching plans and methods that are used to help learners achieve their learning goals with digital technologies. Digital teaching strategies need to be adapted to learners' needs and circumstances. For example, time and devices available. I have a website presenting online tools for language teaching. My online tools for language teaching could be a good starting point for discussion on the types of digital tools that can be used in digital language teaching. I classified online tools for language teaching into 12 categories: learning or content management systems, communication tools, live and virtual worlds, social networking and bookmarking tools, blogs and wikis, presentation tools, resource sharing tools, website creation tools, web exercise creation tools, web search engine, dictionaries and concordances, and utilities. I also have a site showing a list of 14 types of online activities for language learning, including collaboration, communication, concordancing, creation, exploration, games, mapping, presentation, reflection, simulation, storytelling, surveys, tests, and tutorials. The list presents example online tools that can be used for each activity type as well. In addition, you can find example digital language teaching activities from these free ebooks. The activities presented in the books demonstrate how digital tools and resources can be practically used for language teaching. I'll give you a little bit of time for you to write down those websites. Okay. When digital language teaching employs AI tools, we could call it AI-powered language teaching. Let me open this website and show it to you. And here you go. Here is a website showing selected AI tools for language teaching. The tools are categorized in terms of chatbots, language learning apps, teaching activities, materials and resources, translation, and research. I made this list for language teachers so that they can explore and learn themselves. Feel free to explore and find AI tools for your own learning and teaching yourself. The last update date was February 26, 2025. So we're already in October. So I might need to update it again later this year. Things are changing very quickly and we need to update information whenever we can. Very important these days, as you know. We are not going to look at each tool today, maybe another time. Importantly, there is a critical need for teach development in technology integration. In my 2018 book, I presented and discussed a teach development model called ECCR: exploration, communication, collaboration, reflection. The model suggests that knowledge and skills can be developed through active exploration, interactive communication, professional collaboration, and critical reflection. An example study using the ECCR model is shown after published in 2024. In 2024. The article is open access article, which you can download for free from the online journal. Here, I will show you an example way of using an AI tool. I have created a podcast talking about this particular article by using an AI tool called Notebook LM. The AI tool analyzed the article and presented a kind of a talk show. Let's listen just for a few minutes.
Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time we're going exploring a really cool article. It's from the September 2024 issue of the Online Learning Journal. And it's all about how language teachers are using technology.
It's such a timely topic.
It is, especially with everything changing so quickly. And get this.
That's that.
There's this ECCR model that helps teachers become more like tech savvy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So to like break it all down for us, we have our expert here with us.
Hello.
So what makes this particular like research so interesting to you?
Well, I think what really grabs me is that this study doesn't just look at teachers in one place.
Okay.
It focuses on teachers in Hong Kong and Taiwan.
Wow, that's a cool.
Two totally different educational worlds, right?
Yeah.
So we get to see how like culture and even government policies can impact how teachers approach using technology in the classroom.
Ooh, that can't interesting. I'm already seeing how this deep dive is going to be relevant for anyone who's trying to implement new tech.
Yeah.
Not just teachers.
Absolutely.
And the article mentions the teachers in the study were like pretty diverse too, right?
Totally. They teach different languages.
Yeah.
English, Chinese, French.
Wow.
And they're at all levels. Primary, secondary, and university.
Okay.
So the study gives us a good sense of how tech plays out across all these different kinds of teaching environments.
I like it. One thing that stuck out to me was that the study mentions that like most of these teachers,
Yeah.
whether they're in Hong Kong or Taiwan, learn about new tech tools from, get this, their colleagues and workshops.
Interesting.
You know, not from like formal research or anything.
That's huge. Think about it. Teachers are turning to each other,
Yeah.
sharing tips and tricks.
Yeah.
It shows you the power of like hands-on learning
Right.
and that network of teachers supporting each other. That informal knowledge sharing
Yeah.
can be more impactful than like some top-down training.
It's almost like a secret society of tech savvy teachers.
Maybe it is a little bit.
Okay, so let's get to this ECCR model.
Yeah, let's dive in.
It sounds like something anyone could use to become more comfortable with tech.
Absolutely.
So tell me more.
Okay, so let's break it down.
Okay.
First, you have exploration.
Okay.
This is where teachers, or really anyone, are actively looking for and trying out new tech tools.
Okay.
It's that always learning spirit,
Yeah.
always looking for ways to use technology to their advantage.
So not just sticking with what you know, but be seeking out new stuff.
Exactly.
All right. Interesting, isn't it? I didn't create, AI created this book, the audio podcast, and I found it very interesting. And another one, here is another one showing a video outline of the paper created by Notebook LM. Once again, let me share the screen with you. Here you go.
You have to wonder.
All right, yeah.
Okay, let's talk about today's classrooms. Technology isn't just a nice to have anymore, right? It is everywhere. But with this absolute explosion of new apps, tools, and even AI, you have to wonder, how are teachers supposed to keep up? Well, we're going to dive into a fascinating new study that uncovers the secret cycle teachers are using to master the digital world. And it all kicks off with one really crucial question. I mean, that's really what it all boils down to, isn't it? When technology is changing at this lightning fast pace, the old model of, a couple of training days a year, that just doesn't cut it anymore. So where do educators actually turn for help? The answer, you'll see, is pretty surprising. So to get to that answer, here's our game plan. First, we'll take a peek inside the modern teacher's digital toolbox. Then we're going to unpack a really powerful learning framework called the ECCR model. After that, we'll hear some real stories from teachers on the front lines. We'll also get real about the hurdles they face every day. And finally, we'll look at what all this means for the future of teaching. All right, let's set the scene. Imagine the modern classroom. It's basically swimming in a sea of digital tools. Technology is no longer optional. It's become a core part of how students learn and how teachers teach. And this is especially true in the world of language education. There's actually a formal name for this. It's called Technology Enhanced Language Teaching, or TELT for short. And this is a whole specific field that's focused on how digital resources can make learning a language way more effective and honestly more engaging. So we're not just talking about using a smartboard here, it's a whole approach to teaching. So what does this look like day to day? Well, the toolkit is probably full of names you recognize. You've got your collaborative stuff like Google Suite and Microsoft Teams, communication tools like Zoom and even WhatsApp, and of course, those gamified learning apps like Kahoot and Quizlet. Teachers are pretty much expected to be fluent in all of it. It's a lot. So with all these tools flying around, how in the world do teachers manage? This is where the research brings in a really helpful framework. It's called the ECCR model. And trust me, it's not some dry academic theory. It's more like a practical guide for constant growth. Okay, so the magic here is how these 4 stages connect. First, teachers explore. They're out there actively looking for new tech. Then they communicate about what they find. Next, and this is key, they collaborate with each other to figure out the best ways to use it. And finally, they reflect on what actually helps kids learn and what doesn't. You can think of it like an athlete's training cycle. You practice, you perform, you get feedback, and you adjust over and over again. And that is the absolute core idea. ECCR is not a checklist you finish. It's not a one-and-done training seminar. It's a mindset. It's this ongoing dynamic process of learning, trying new things, and adapting that, well, it never really stops. It's all about building a sustainable habit of getting better. But how does this actually play out in a real school? Well, the researchers went out and interviewed 12 language teachers in Hong Kong and Taiwan to see how they really learn and use technology. So let's get into their stories. And what they found was just fascinating. Get this. Teachers are not waiting for some top-down command from the administration. Nope, they are turning to each other. A whopping 84% learn from their colleagues and from workshops. And over half are using social networks to stay up to date. It's a totally community-driven effort. But this whole process, it's not always easy. This quote from a teacher in Hong Kong, it really reveals a common anxiety. She feels like she's not competent simply because she's not using these tools 24/7. It's this constant feeling of being behind the curve. Now contrast that with this quote from a teacher in Taiwan. She sees herself as a curriculum designer, and for her, technology is just one tool in the toolbox. It's an aid, not the main event. And that highlights this really powerful shift in mindset, right? From feeling controlled by the tech to feeling empowered by it. Of course, even if you have the best mindset in the world, reality can get messy. So let's talk about the everyday obstacles that can just completely derail a perfectly planned digital lesson. The number one, most frustrating, most common problem, it's so simple. The tech just doesn't work. A bad Wi-Fi connection, a glitchy app, a forgotten password, any one of those things can bring an entire class to a screeching halt. And this quote, it just captures that feeling perfectly. This isn't something that happens once in a while. It's a constant battle. This teacher calls it a really struggling thing. And that sense of exhaustion is just a daily reality for so many educators out there. And it's not just the glitches, right? The study found teachers are also juggling limited budgets, trying to coax shy students to turn on their cameras on Zoom, and dealing with all sorts of administrative roadblocks. So this brings us to the most important question of all. What kind of support would actually make a difference? Okay, so let's pull all this together. If we really want to support teachers, we have to look beyond just throwing the next hot app at them. The entire focus here needs to shift. So what do teachers say they need most? It's this. They need a safe space to experiment and maybe even fail without being judged. They need real, tangible support from their schools for hardware and software. They need dedicated time in their crazy schedules to actually collaborate and reflect with their peers. And finally, they need training that's focused on how to teach with these tools, not just on which buttons to click. And that really brings us to the bottom line of this whole thing. The goal isn't to create teachers who are experts in Kahoot or Google Classroom. The goal is to nurture teachers who are experts in the process of learning itself. Teachers who can explore, communicate, collaborate, and reflect no matter what new technology comes along next year. So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. We spend so much time and energy searching for the next technological silver bullet for education. But what if that's the wrong question entirely? What if the future of learning isn't really about better tech at all, but about building systems that create better supported, more adaptable, and more empowered teachers?
Okay. Interesting again, isn't it? So that was the one way of using an AI tool, which I could use a tool called Notebook LM to explain the paper I published in 2024. Based on the ECCR model, I presented Digital Language Teacher Development Framework, DLTDF, in 2020. The framework guides language teachers to identify what they can do and how they can engage with its four interrelated components: exploration, communication, collaboration, and reflection. This table presents the framework showing key activities connected with the ECCR. For example, in the exploration component, you can use these sample questions for self-assessment. Are you active in collecting information technological options for your teaching? If yes, how do you collect information? And how does the information affect your pedagogy? If no, why not? You can also ask yourself, what factors do you think are important in the selection of your tools for your teaching? Something to think about. This table presents the competency levels of framework. For example, if we look at the expert level in the reflection component, we might say, I can reflect on my teaching with digital technology in a highly efficient way. I have a well-developed understanding of self-monitoring in digital context. So teachers can check themselves what sort of levels of competency they have in terms of digital language teaching. There's no doubt teachers need to engage with the various ongoing professional development activities and increase their competence in AI-powered language teaching. Here are some discussion questions you are encouraged to ask and respond to. Which tools do you think might be useful for your digital language teaching? What activities do you think might be effective in your digital language teaching? What strategies do you use or like to use for your AI-powered language teaching? How would you characterize your own professional development in AI environments? In each way, do you think AI can help your professional development? So you can choose these questions, any of the question, and answer them and see how much you can reflect yourself. Once again, the process involves exploration, communication, collaboration, and reflection, and see how much you can actually improve, develop and improve your professional knowledge and skills. Right, references are here, and thank you for your attention. That's it for today. Do you have any questions?
Yes, thank you, Dr. Son, for your very interesting sharing from technology literacy to AI literacy, especially for language teachers. And I can see some answers to your questions in the chat box. So participants, please going on, leaving your answers to Dr. Son's questions, the 5 questions in the Padlet, and he can return to this at the end of the webinar. It's now time for us to move to the Q&A session. Yes, as I mentioned before, we received quite a lot of questions from the registers to this webinar. And in case the participants here, right now we have more than 100 participants in this webinar. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the chat box for our speaker um, to respond. I would like to share my screen to show you the collected questions that we have in advance. So just show them in the order of the questions that we'll receive.
Which one do we start with?
Yeah, I will show them on the screen one by one for you
Okay.
to respond. Just give a brief or a longer response. It depends on you. So the first two questions, this is from one participant. So how to raise teachers' awareness of using AI ethically and effectively? And the second question is how to prepare teachers to teach their students about AI literacy.
Right. Okay. Good questions. Now, raising awareness. I think we already know how. I think there's some kind of echo on my microphone. Can you hear me all right? Yes, I think one
Yes,
person
I
has
can hear
to.
you clearly. I can hear you clearly.
Yeah, I think one person has to stop the microphone so that we can hear sounds clearly each other.
Okay, so let me turn microphone.
Yeah, all right, okay, no echo now. Good, thank you. Now, so again, we are all aware of the rise of AI in not only just in education, language education, it's in our everyday lives. And people realize that how technology moves fast and what sort of things we should do, etc. And to use AI ethically and effectively, we certainly need knowledge, understanding knowledge and skills to do that. And then what sort of knowledge and understanding and skill we need, that's something we have to study. That's something we have to develop as our professional development. And there are a lot of things you need to learn. What sort of there are things like there are basic questions like what is AI, how AI can be used in language education, and what tools are available for language teaching, and how they can be used in my classrooms, and how students respond to those AI tools, and how teachers can introduce AI tools and use the tools ethically by letting students know how important to use AI ethically. And that's just sort of, there should be a mutual understanding and should be something of knowledge and skills we can build together. And then we actually share some sort of examples and samples, and then do see how they can be involved in actual use of AI without ethical issues. And that's the main thing. And I pointed out the 5 things, not just the ethical and effective, that was efficiently and creatively as well. And there are things like you have to bring up your experience into the level of understanding, knowledge, and skill to use AI in those 5 ways and see how you can do develop. There are many example tools, there are many example activities available around you, but you are the teachers who need to choose which one's best for your students, because you are the one who understand your students best in the world. So I encourage every teacher to get involved in learning about AI and use of AI for language teaching, and improve your knowledge and skills for using AI tools for language teaching yourself, and then participate in sort of online communities and online workshops and other professional activities, so then you can actually exchange your information and ideas and then learn new things from others. That's very important in our professional learning networks. And the second question, how to prepare teachers to teach their students about AI literacy. To do that, teachers should have sufficient enough to teach what AI literacy to students. So you have to build up your AI literacy knowledge and skill. And I introduced AI literacy questionnaires for teachers through my talk. And I invite you to go to the website, download the questionnaire, answer those questions yourself, and see and check how much you know about the basics of AI first, and then what sort of areas and elements you need to study more about it, so that you can be comfortable and competent enough to teach and help your students improve AI literacy. And AI literacy involves many, many things. Even though I mentioned very brief definition and elements there, but because of the new technology come in, we now talk a lot more than just the generative AI. I'm not sure how many of you have heard about AI agents. We're talking about AI agent and protocols, and there are other things. And as we go along, there are more concepts, more approaches will come to the AI age, and then we need to keep on working on it to follow up to improve AI literacy as we go along. AI literacy is not just stopping somewhere there. It has to be improved as you go along, because technology goes move forward, and we have to catch up, and we have to use them effectively and efficiently as a teachers. Not only just users of AI, we are the teachers. We use AI to teach, so that students can learn what we want to teach. That's a very important thing to ask.
Yes, thank you for your response. Let me remind the participants that at the end of the webinar, we will send you a link for you to check your participants and a short feedback. Then you can receive a certificate of participation in this webinar. Yes, and as Dr. Son mentioned, that there are so many things that we should learn about AI to improve our AI literacy. And that's why we should move to the second question. Yeah, here it is. How can I deal with too many emerging AI tools? I feel like I still haven't learned how to use one, then another one appears. It seems like I'm left behind. Yeah. Yes, I also share my feeling with this teacher. So,
Yeah,
Doctor?
all right. Yep, that's a quite common questions. And we have to be selective. And I have selected those tools I mentioned on one of my websites. That's AI tools for language teaching. And once again, you feel free to go to that particular website. And I'll I'll give you a web address on your chat box so that you can explore there. And let me quickly go through there. And there's a AI literacy tools, and I'll put this one here, and I'll put this check box. There you go. Here you go. All right. So if you go to this website, there are specific tools I selected for other teachers and students who are interested in use of AI for language teaching. And more tools will come, of course. But there are main ideas you have to have. Why you use AI tools? Is it for certain regions, certain purposes? Now, in my case, I said there are chatbots, there are learning apps, teaching activities, material resources, translation research. So in the case of material resources, you find a tool which you can actually generate content or generate summary, generate quizzes, generate images, generate audios, generate videos, things like that. So you should have a specific purpose of using AI tools and find which one is better. And because of the size of the investment, and you do find that there usually many tools end up with one or two big company-based tools, and they usually last long because they invest a lot more money than other small companies. But you will see which particular tool has a more specific purpose and good reason for using it, and it is your choice to choose the best one in your case. And the second one is you don't have to learn everything about one particular tool, and you actually use it and see whether there's a particular activity you can introduce them, and whether there's a particular way you can actually use a particular tool in particular case, and then you actually use as an option of your activities, and then you can provide more options to your students and see which particular option is good for them in that particular activity. And so you can make it as an activity using AI tools, or you can make as a lesson which involves different types of AI tools for particular contents. Now, it is not something you are going to have a lesson to teach AI tool. You are going to have a lesson to teach language, the target language. And the main thing is you use AI to teach the target language. So which particular areas of target language you like to use with that particular AI tool. So you have to explore and experiment and see which particular approach is best for your teaching. It is something which involves preparation and reflection there. Okay.
Thank you. Yes, and I got the keyword is to be selective. Be selective in choosing the tools to learn, not every tool. We cannot learn everything, and also be elective and in learning the functions of a tool. So we may discover some function of a tool for certain teaching and learning purposes. Thank you very much. And also in your introduction to your web page, where you introduce to AI tools, this is also covers some of the questions that we receive in the chat box. That is there any application or AI tool to make students drawing or to improve students language skills? So participants, please discover the link that Dr. Son shared. Let's move to the next question. Yes, based on the acceleration of technology, which is the most important technological competency that linguistic teachers should have. Yes, so you mentioned some competencies and which is the most important according to you?
Technological competency. It is quite general term, and you might like to know, depending on which tool you like to use, you need to know more about creation part, or could be more about exploration part, or could be more about the application part. It depends on, once again, it depends on why you need that tool and how the tool will be used in particular cases. And generally, I say you need the pedagogical knowledge and technical knowledge, together with the pedagogical skills and technological skills. So they both come together, and then you have to have understanding of digital pedagogy and digital technologies, so that you can actually teach, you can have digital language teaching efficiently and effectively in your classrooms. So it's not just a technical competence you need pedagogical understanding and skills as well to use particular AI tool in your language teaching. That's very important. Don't just rely on technology competence. You need more than technology competence.
Yes, that's it. Thank you. I would like you to respond to the questions that we received in the chat box before we moving on to others collected in advance. The question from Mr. or Miss Chen Quang Ngọc Thúy. It's in the chat box already. The CCR model may take a long time, whereas AI appears hourly built. How can we use this model effectively for teachers' professional development?
It is an interesting question. The ECCR model doesn't take long. You are already doing it. As a teacher, you already explore, communicate, collaborate with others, and reflect yourself. We always do as a teacher. The idea is I just combine them together in one particular framework so that people can realize that how important to build their knowledge and skills through more active exploration, communication, collaboration, reflection. So you are currently doing it. You are encouraged to continue, and then you are encouraged to try to do more. That's how we do it. And for the professional development, you think about what sort of activities you can do for exploration, communication, collaboration, reflection. And I presented those framework, competency levels, as well as the self-assessment questions. Ask yourself which particular part of the ECCR model you think you need to improve further. That's based on your knowledge and skills and experiences, your response would be different. So you build up your professional development based on your current situations. Thank you.
I hope that Miss or Mr. Chen Guang Ngọc, we are happy with Dr. Song's response. Let's move to the next question. Yes, on the screen. In what ways can AI support language teaching and learning in the classroom?
Many ways. Now, I have presented those AI tools to bring this talk, and you realize that there are tools you can use for particular purposes and particular materials. Now, how can I use AI to support language teaching and learning in my classrooms? Once again, do you have enough AI literacy skills and knowledge to deliver the lesson using AI? Have you selected right AI tools for your lessons today? You have to experiment, test yourself. Don't go to the classroom without testing the tool you are going to use. There's no guarantee that it will work. You have to test it yourself whether it works, and also ask yourself first, do I really need an AI tool for today's lesson? If yes, you go with it, you present it, and then you ask the students to follow your instruction and give them an opportunity to explore and come up with some outcomes. And then there was one question in the chat box about assessment. Assessment with AI is still a long way to go. It's not that simple matter. And we can ask AI to assess our essays. It's easy part because it's text analysis. That's the easy part. But then again, do we really want AI to assess our students' writing? Well, some teachers might say, I'll ask AI to assess all my students' essays so that I can save time. But you, as a teacher, you have to go back to the old AI assessment yourself and see if there are any wrong feedback. Is there any feedback you think is problematic? It is another teacher's job to check whether AI does the job properly. Things like that. It's still a long way to go, and we can't rely on AI 100% at this stage, and we don't want that. But as a teacher, you need to know where you can find the information, how you can use it, how you can be a person who has leadership in the classroom teaching. AI is your assistant. It's not your replacement. So you have to study and you have to build up your professional development actively. That's what we are trying to do with all the teachers in the world.
Yes, sure. AI is the tool. It's just assist your teaching. Yeah, thank you. And there's also another request from Ms. or Mr. Chen Quang Ngọc Thúy. He or she would like you to show the references of your presentation again. But I would like to ask the Dr. Song, if it's possible, we will share a copy of your presentation to all of our participants today. So we don't have to waste our time to show the references again on the screen.
I can create a short summary of the presentation, not also presentation, because some of the materials is still in progress, and there will be another book to be published this year about AI-powered language teaching, and you will find more about AI from that particular book. But I can certainly make a short summary from my today's session so that you can share with others.
Yeah, thank you. So the next question is, in what ways can AI-powered tools like Queensland chatbots, adaptive platforms assist in vocabulary and communication practice? Very, a specific use of AI tools.
As long as you have a specific topic, you can ask AI to create content and quizzes and activities to teach that particular content. That's easy way of doing it. Now, in the past, as a teacher, we explore many different materials and then find out which particular way will be good for teaching this particular content, for example, particular vocabulary or communication method. Now, you can ask AI to search for particular activity for this particular group of students. When you do ask AI tools to find out or generate something for you, you have to give a specific instruction. That's what something to do with the prompt engineering. When you give the prompts, which is a request, you have to give a specific information. So when you say vocabulary exercise, I want a vocabulary exercise for my students, and then you say generate a vocabulary exercise for fourth year students in a high school in Vietnam, something like that. If you give more information, they will be more specific about the content they generate. So you need some practice to improve your prompt skills.
Yes, so at least in terms of material preparation, teaching material preparation, I can see that AI tools have saved us, a lot of time and efforts in designing teaching materials. Thank you, Doctor. Let's move to the next question: How to teach students to use AI responsibly?
Yeah, it is a big question, and we now see more and more AI-generated contents are submitted as student assignments. Now, we have to be very careful with when we assess students' assignments, and we have to actually do the check whether that's generated by AI or it's done by the students themselves, and things like that. So actually, we have to teach students clearly use of AI can be applied or used in this particular way for this particular assessment, but this particular part, you should be involved in a certain way. So we need to provide more specific guidelines and instructions for the student to follow. And I see in education, we now see more and more importance of interactive oral assessments. Traditionally, we had oral assessments a lot more than written assessments. Now, people realize that maybe interactive oral assessments might help avoid use of AI in the outcomes of a student's assignments, because in oral assessment, students have to show and tell examiners what they know about it, what they're talking about. So that's why we see that in PhD examination these days, many universities do employ oral presentation at the end of PhD examination. So you can't rely on everything from the written text anymore. And so as a teacher, once again, you need to teach how important to use AI responsibly, and then in which way it is the way using AI responsibly is. And then show some of the samples and examples and have a discussion with them. Which way is better for them and which way do you think we should go with? There are a lot of things that are open questions you can come up with. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Let's see if the next question is go to assessment. How to assess students in the area of AI? Something relates to the previous question. Let me share my screen. Sorry. Yeah, I've been out, so I lost my sharing. Can you see the question now?
Yes. I think I've answered this question just before this question. So assessment in using AI is still a long way to go, and we have to improve our approaches and methods to use AI to assess students' assessment. And then that's where we see that that's any benefit of having an interactive oral assessment. And that in the case of larger classroom, there might be difficulty there as well. So we always have to, and I do emphasize when I teach my students that we always need a context-specific approach. There's no approach which works everywhere. You have to come up with a context-specific approach which you can actually employ and apply to your own teaching. So I encourage you to explore more a variety of different types of approaches and methods and see which way would be better for you. And it'll be interesting to see how the development of AI goes with the assessment in education.
Sure. Most of teachers are worried about how to, change, how to, innovate assessment, yes, to in the era of AI. The next question is, we still have some time left. How can language teachers effectively integrate AI tools in their classroom practice without overwhelming students? It's somehow similar to the previous question, but yeah, the idea here is without overwhelming students.
With the limited space and time for today's session, I might leave this question, but invite you to, if possible, read my book, which will be published this year, about AI-powered language teaching. That book will include not only explanation about what AI-powered language teaching is, will also provide example lesson plans for particular activities and things, tools as well. So if you finding more about how AI tools can be used for particular activities, you will get more ideas of how you can choose and use AI tools in your classroom practice. I think it needs, once again, your exploration, communication, collaboration, and reflection.
Yes. So we will find to read in details in your book. Thank you for your suggestion. The next question is the one that I think all of us are interested in hearing from you. So it relates to policy. What core policies should academic institutions adopt to better support the integration of AI into teaching and learning?
This question is being asked to all universities and institutions around the world. And now some universities are quite proactive in preparing their guidelines and assessment details for the students. And they give them some sort of levels of acceptance of AI use in a particular assignment. So each individual lecturer and department and university, they all have to agree with how AI could be used in particular cases. And I'm sure many academic institutions realize that we are in a situation that we need to know and use AI in certain ways. And it is their choices, what are the certain ways in their cases and how they approach it. So if there are a particular program and they emphasizing use of AI for particular learning content, and then they will actually come up with the idea of how students will be assessed when they learn that content with AI, and what sort of tools will be used, and how you are going to assess, and how you are going to check how much the learning they are talking about. And the main thing is, we always need to check the learning outcome, the amount of learning. When we talk about online education, people realize that it is easy to get access to online learning and teaching, and everybody like it. But we still need more research on the amount of learning in online education. Is it really good enough to be accepted in terms of amount of learning? Is it better in online education or in a traditional classroom? Or which way is better? Or is it both similar? Or depending on the situation and depending on the context you work, and the answer would be different. And we need to hear more about what's happening in Vietnam as well. So I encourage all your teachers and researchers to work more and write more and publish more.
Yes, thank you. How to adopt, the policies to, integrate AI appropriately to a certain context. Yeah. The next and the last question, it also relates to somehow to policy. In your opinion, should AI literacy become a mandatory component in future teacher education programs?
Depending on the context where your teacher's education program is located, it could be a separate subject called AI literacy, or it could be a part of a language education program which is being integrated into the program with AI. So AI literacy is just one subject. It is something you go with all the way whenever you use AI. So it's more like bottom line, and these are fundamental skills, fundamental understanding, knowledge, and skill you need to build up as you go with. If you are encouraged to do AI-powered language teaching, so it can be a mandatory component in a certain context, or it can be just an integrated part of education programs. So depending on the context you work in, it could be a different approach they'll take. So there's no clear answer, but there's a way you have to introduce and include AI components in teacher education program. That's a more certain answer there.
Yeah, thank you for your answer. So AI literacy can be separate subject or can be integrated into the teacher education program. We got it. And that's also the last question that we received for today's webinar. Thank you once again, Dr. Son, for your sharing, for your responding to all the questions previously received or in the chat box. And also for your kindness to share part of your presentation to our participants today. We will receive from you and to share with the participants through email. And it's now time for the technician to share the link for the participants to check your attendance, to give a short feedback of the webinar today, and also receive a certificate of participation. It's now time for me to invite Dr. Bao Khâm, VietCALL President, to deliver the e-certificate to our speakers today.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Song, for sharing your insight on digital and AI literacy with us. And you know, I myself, I'm teaching English language methodology to the student, and actually I have used your model, the ECCR model, for my master student. And you know, in the program, I try to integrate, you know, the AI, digital and AI literacy, and now I try to move up to a new level, you know, using critical AI literacy for some of the activity for the student. And I do hope that, you know, when we integrate, we will help the student to use AI more responsibly, yeah, with more responsibility. And I think your talk has opened up new ways of thinking about how we prepare teachers and learners in the future. And we deeply appreciate your time and generous sharing. And to show our appreciation for what you have done for us, this is the certificate we will send you. This is the soft one, and we will send you through the email. And we are going to end, you know, this year's webinar series next month. But we do hope that next year we'll bring you back, maybe virtually or maybe offline, yeah, for because you have a lot of contribution to our community, not just Vietnam, but you know, over the world. Thank you very much. We do hope to see you again, either on the web or in Vietnam, somewhere in Vietnam, sometime. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'd love to visit Vietnam again in the future. All right, bye now.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you. Yes, thank you, Dr. Son, and thank you, Dr. Bao Khâm, and participants for joining us in the webinar today. And as Dr. Bao